Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the HT Physio Quick Tip series. If you don't know who I am, my name is Will Harlow and I'm the Over-Fifties Specialist Physio here at HT Physio in Farnham. And today I'm going to be revealing 3 bad habits that make walking painful. And I've selected these 3 things because they're 3 of the most common problems I see with people's walking when they come into the clinic. So there's 3 high value things to pay attention to when you walk if you have pain of any kind. So the first thing that I see, a bad habit that makes walking painful, is people walk with their knees too close together. So what I mean by this is they're doing one of 2 things. They're either walking too narrow, so their knees are brushing past each other as they walk, or they're having like a knock-knee type appearance where their feet have still got a gap, but their knees are knocking together, and we call this valgus, okay? Now, there's a couple of different reasons for knees being too close together. One of them is people are just not putting their feet in the right position as they walk, and the other reason is weakness in the glutes back here. But if your knees are too close together, you're first of all going to lose balance because you're walking more narrow, so you've got a narrower base of support. And the second thing that's going to happen is it's going to put a lot of stress on the inside of the knee, and it will also put a lot of stress on the inside of the foot and the ankle, and it can put stress on the hip. So if you've got a hip bursitis or glute tendinopathy or any of the other terms that describe that thing, it's going to aggravate it as well. So one thing to pay attention to when you're walking to fix this is to imagine that you've got a very slight gap between your knees when you walk. I tell people to imagine they've got an egg there and they're trying not to crush it as they walk. And what that imagery will do is it will naturally keep your knees further apart, which will naturally engage the glutes here, which means you can use them a bit better, and that should prevent some of your pain as a result. Now, the second bad habit that makes walking painful is a lack of heel strike. Now, when we walk, the first thing that should happen as we swing a leg forward is our heel should make contact with the ground. Now, this is the most natural way for someone to walk. So your outer heel makes contact with the ground, and then the foot rolls forward and slightly inside as we push, so then we can push through the ball of the foot and the big toe. So that's what naturally should happen. But the problem I see, or the bad habit I see, is people land flat-footed, or they land with their feet making contact with the ground first. And both of these things are harmful to the body in most cases. So if you're landing with your forefoot first, you've basically thrown off your entire gait pattern, so nothing else is going to activate in the right order. So your knee muscles can't work properly, your ankle muscles aren't going to work properly, and your hips probably aren't going to activate either. So it's only a matter of time before people with that walking style start to develop painful problems in most cases. So the solution to this is really simple. You're just going to imagine that the heel is the first thing that makes contact with the ground every time you take a step forward. So I like to tell people that have problems with this to imagine in their head the phrase heel toe as they walk. So heel toe looks like this. So it's heel toe with my right foot. I'll show you again with the right. Ready? So heel toe. So the heel goes down first, and then as a result, you can push off through the toes. If you're landing first with your toes, and then you get over it, and now you're pushing off with your toes, it's a very unnatural gait pattern. So what we want to do is land first with the heel, make sure you've got a good heel strike, and that puts everything else into the right place. So we've talked about a lot of lower body problems with walking, but there's one problem that's higher up that can make walking painful. And this is a particularly bad habit for people who have back pain, and that is to not engage the glutes or the core. Now, the core is the muscle that wraps around here, and the glutes are the muscles at the back of the hip. And if we engage them, what that does is it brings our pelvis into a nice neutral position. So mine are engaged right now. I'm not tensing hard, but they're just switched on. Now, if I completely relax them, and if I fall into what I kind of want to do, unfortunately, because I've got an anterior pelvic tilt, then I start to stand with this kind of appearance. So I've got a very rounded lower back, my bottom's sticking out, my belly's dropped forward, that's switched off, and that's switched off as well. Now, I can already feel this putting a lot of stress right at the base of the spine. So this L5-S1 region here, or the sacroiliac joint beneath it, both of those regions there are getting a lot of stress put on them because I'm standing with an anterior pelvic tilt. But the problem is most people walk like this, so they keep their glutes and their core relaxed. They're hinging from that L5-S1 here, and they're walking with a lot of stress and pressure on their spines. So if that's you, if you've got back pain when walking, one of the nice ways to fix it and to fix that bad habit is to try and activate both areas. And we can do this very simply. All we need to do is imagine you've got a tail and you're just trying to tuck your tail between your legs. Simple as that. That switches on the glutes, and it's almost impossible for the core to not switch on as well as we do this. Don't worry about trying to pull your belly button into your spine when you walk, because that just overcomplicates things. I usually just tell people, just imagine you've got a tail, you're tucking it between your legs, it's only a 20% contraction, I'm not straining, and then you maintain that as you walk. And that puts you into a much better position for walking, and it should get rid of that bad habit of relaxing into an anterior tilt, and it should make walking more painful, more comfortable as a result. Anyway, I hope that video has been useful. If you found it useful, then hit like and subscribe to the channel and leave me a comment below, because I love to read your thoughts. And if you want to get more from me, you can pick up a copy of my book. It's called Thriving Beyond 50, and you can find it on Amazon using the link below. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.